Dzień dobry. Jak się masz?
Dobrze.
Mam na imię Ramiar.
Brawo.
Thank you. I feel very glad to be with you here today. I appreciate Aksin University for giving me the second opportunity to be in Poland again, because I was generously given another opportunity last year. And of course, I should thank the International Relations Office as well. I think Poland is having a bright future doing what it's doing, inviting people from all over the world. And I really, really wish good luck for the future of the country. And of course, you deserve it, considering all the struggles that you have gone through in the past. We are witnessing, I know, the Russian-Ukraine war, and I really, really sympathize with the Ukrainian people, who have some fantastic presentations, but it's not just you who are in war today. If you look at history, we have witnessed many, many wars, so you're not alone. Anyway, so my topic is about the American elections, which are increasingly dominated by the candidate-centered campaigns. And my concentration will be on the candidate-centered campaigns itself. What they are, well, they are a prominent model and phenomenon of today's America. I don't have slides, unfortunately, and let me be honest with you. I give no presentation without slides, but to be honest and humble, I forgot them. I forgot having them. If you want to have them, I promise I would have them as soon as I will be back to Iraqi Kurdistan, if you want it. Dr. Kristen has my email, but so I'm just going to read it from paper. Candidate-centered campaigns are defined as people nominating themselves, especially in the presidential elections in the U.S., as the concentration that's merely on the persons. They are personalized elections. They are not elections related to the political party, to the government, the finances coming from the government, but they are rather ones that you're concentrating on who the candidate is, what is the image of the candidate, what is his personality. I'm gonna dive into what they are, what is their history, and all of those kind of things. There is a very nice book written by Noam Chomsky as to our conference is about the challenges to the contemporary media. So he has written a book about the media control. Who controls the media controls the mind. That's what I read from his book. And that's really, really influential considering all the issues, problems, facts, and research conducted that you have mentioned today as well. You will, throughout the presentation, hear words such as the presidential elections, the United States, money, politics, and all those kind of things. We are having a problem, and the research problem is that there are only wealthy people who can nominate themselves to be a president in the U.S. So if you're not a businessman, if you're not rich, you can't run for presidency. You would hear, you have had people who really had low ethics in the U.S. and they became presidents. You would ask yourself, how? How they became president? Why did the people vote? Well, the people did not vote for the person because they don't know the person. They don't have time realizing who the person was, but they voted for the image of the person. They voted for the emotions that they have invested in people through the media, and that's because they were rich. So, as the more money you have in the U.S., the better chances you have to become a president. And we have seen such examples, and in a few minutes I'm going to give you facts from researchers I have conducted of how much money were invested in such elections. We know that elections are an essential and fundamental process of democracy everywhere, and elections that should determine who should run for office, if it's for presidency office, governor, or whatever. It is mentioned that the U.S. conducts more elections than other countries. In a country, for the U.S., that hosts a population of more than 340 million people, it's important to know how elections are made there in the country. And of course, campaigns, including the candidate-centered campaigns, play an important role in this country. There are millions of dollars poured into such processes. there in the US, within the elections, you're having the mix of privatization of public institutions. So the public institutions are privatizing. You're having business relations with the candidates. So business is a lot associated with the presidential elections there in the US. Now, we have William Hudson, a professor of political science in Providence College and in American University. He has a very nice saying. He says, somebody looks at the mirror in the morning who's rich and decides to become US president without no prior experience. And we have many examples like that. You're getting the public attention and you're attracting voters through the process. Now, having a history, telling a history of the US candidate-centered campaigns, they don't have a long history. They have started from early 20th century. We know that the 20th century this is where literally the modernity age starts. You're witnessing the world wars and you're having the peace in the western part of the world. You're having this scientific competition. All these have impacted the candidate-centered campaigns. And of course the media, because our topic is about media. Campaigns itself should inform and educate people. You're having a presidential candidate or you're having a presidential debate. You're not there to fight, but you're there to inform the public, to educate the public. That's the main role of the media as well, of what you're going to do. But what we are seeing, as we have seen a lot, from the debates of the last ones between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, where they are there using words that would invest in the emotions of the audience and not what is really there. There was an example that I would like to talk about here. So, if you remember, in the debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton said that I'm really glad that we don't have a president such as Donald Trump to run our country. And Donald Trump immediately said because he would be in jail. And he has received fantastic clubs. I was personally, even though I know the facts, but I was personally emotionally driven. I said, well, how nice is Donald Trump doing so? And that's the bad aspect of the candidate-centered campaigns in the US. The issue with the US election is that you're not having the party role. So you have two main political parties in the US, the Democrats and the Republicans. The party's role is diminished here. Because when you're having the candidate-centered campaigns, you're selling the image, the personality of the candidates. So the elections are personalized. They are not related to the political parties, which is exactly different from where I'm coming from, the Middle East, where it's probably either the family or an important political party associated with the family that would decide on affairs. Now, Theodore Roosevelt and Woodrow Wilson were two prominent US presidents that have hugely impacted this phenomenon of candidate-centered campaigns. Woodrow Wilson was one of the very influential and prominent presidents of the US. He was the US president during World War I from 13 to 21. He was there for 2 elected terms. Prior to the 1912 election, because that was the election where he nominated himself, a group of his friends just told him, why don't you just nominate yourself? So his friends, those close to him, they produced films, magazines, and people were basically campaigning for him to become US president, and he became a US president as we are witnessing today. And of course there was Theodore Roosevelt. He was again another president. He was the one that played role in the 1905 Japanese-Russo War. And those two presidents have a lot impacted the US elections to be personalized, like personalized campaigns. And they were the cornerstone to have such a phenomenon that we call candidate-centered campaigns. Now, how popular are the campaigns today? Well, nowadays they're popular than ever. Witnessing the technological advancements, witnessing social media, TikTok, Facebook, and all the others. The point is that they're touching your emotions. They're showing you images that your emotions would be driven. Bad or good, it's something else. But the point is that the US is a country of the interests. And people are driven based on what are the interests of the people. Because I would personally myself, I would question if people becoming presidents in the US, I would never vote for them, but they become presidents, and they are influencing the public attention. So now there is a comparison between the past and the present. In the past, as we didn't have the advancements of technology, there were magazines, newspapers, WikiLeaks, billboards, people that we use it for campaigns. Nowadays, it is texting, messaging, the internet, emails, and television advertising that's used nowadays. In 2010 and 11, I was really, really pro-American. I'm not now. I'm neutral, but I was really pro-American. When Obama was re-elected, believe me, I felt that it is my president who's re-elected. I was very, very much influenced. I studied international relations. I was like, congratulated, wow. We have invited the US General Counsel of the US to our university. And I said, I congratulate you that Mr. President Obama has become president. Because I was very much, every day, I was receiving emails from Obama, please donate, please donate. So there are millions of dollars that are collected through this process. Now, talking about the costs. The 2016 election, it was estimated that $5 billion were spent on the elections. Between $1.5 to $2 billion were spent only for Hillary Clinton, Secretary Hillary Clinton. The recent one, the 2020 election, $14 billion were spent on the election. So it's almost double or triple of what was earlier spent. Somebody like John Cornyn, who nominated himself to be a US Senator, has spent on himself $60 million. Imagine all millions of dollars, and you're having nearly 1 million people who are living under the poverty line, and you're witnessing people without water, without food in Africa, Yemen, Syria, a lot of other places, people who are displaced. You have the interest groups, you have the funds, you have the PACs, known as the Political Action Committees. John McCain himself has spent on himself $2,007 million to become a president. And by the way, I like this man, but these are facts. The role of the media. So, the success of the candidates relies on how much a candidate has so as to become a president. The media still plays an important role. And what is shown in the media is the significant images, the nice images, the very nice words. I have a link here, I would probably be able to send it to you, that shows a debate between John McCain and Obama, where they are arguing merely to attract the voters. They're basically responding and fighting. You're that and I'm that, and the people are shouting. This means what? It means that the people's attention would be driven, would be deviated from what the real image is. So you're having an election, you're having a debate. The debate is there to inform, explain for the audience of what you're going to do, what would be your plans. Why should you be elected? This doesn't happen. So the public's attention, the audience, like the real image of what candidates have would be hidden. That's what William Hudson calls hidden election. It's a hidden election. Like people are not voting based on what you really have, but they're voting on how would you invest in their emotions and how would you do that, which doesn't tell you the reality. Now, I'm going to the end. I'm not sure how much time do I have. But some critical views on the candidates is that, on this phenomenon is that, why is it a hidden election? So, it is researched that before the candidate is, time is running, before the candidate is runs for office, he's going to sit down with business groups, business interest groups, especially the political action committees. He sits down with them. They agree on passing some rules that would reflect the interests of the business groups or businessmen, and then he would get the funds to nominate himself for the presidency. The critical view is that not everybody has the chance to become a US president. No matter how smart, how great you are, you might be able to change America, but you can't do so as long as you're not having a lot of money. So to conclude, candidate-centered campaigns are an important phenomenon of the US. It makes the elections undemocratic, and critics are actually demonstrated behind this process. 10, 15 years ago, you would probably say that the world is unipolar in the sense that you got America, but now you're not only having America. Sorry, I know it goes into politics, but that's my specialty. I'm from international relations major. You're having Russia, you're having China, you're having other countries that are deciding on the future of the world. It's not just America. And probably a major problem is the way the presidents are running the country. Dziękuję. Any questions?
May I ask one question? So it's very interesting your presentation and your research. I agree with you in all aspects maybe, but one question. Is it possible to win elections without billions? Yeah? Is it possible or not nowadays?
Based on what we had, $14 billion were spent in the U.S. recent U.S. elections, I would say no. Absolutely not.
But in USA, no, but in other countries?
It depends, because I mean the point is everywhere has problems. So look at like, for example, look at the Middle East. I'm coming from the Middle East. In the Middle East, as long as, like, it doesn't matter how great you are, but if you don't have like close relations with the families, like the running families or the political parties, you can't like run for presidency. Doesn't matter how great you are, which is exactly the opposite role to what you have in the US. You're not having the role of the political parties, but it's money that decides. Yeah, so I mean everywhere has problems, to be honest. We shouldn't be jealous of another country. Every country has its own problems.
Yes, but media is the most, has the great role.
We should be very careful of that. I mean, the reality is, for example, I mean, now you have immigrants, which are considered to be a security threat to Europe. Now, from where I am, from Iraq, you have Europe to be the haven. I was discussing it with one of our colleagues. Like for those people who haven't seen Europe, they think that if you're in Europe, you're in the haven. You're in the best part of the world. One, this is not true, and that's the media. The media has depicted this. If it's Western media, it's something else, but the media or the world sees Europe as the most successful part of the world from every perspective. Well, this is not true. So European leaders should probably show the real images of Europe so that they could have less immigrants.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.